back to Two Doulas in a Pod, the podcast where we dish on all things birth, advocacy, and everything in between.
I'm your host, one of your hosts, Arlicia, and this is Fatima. We're your two doula bays. So grab your coffee, your tea, or your bubbly. Come join us on the couch. Let's get into it.
Come. Arlicia.
What's up?
What's up? This is episode 4.
Wow, 4 already?
4.
Wow.
I
need some tea. Where's my tea?
I'll toast to that, or cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. We are so excited to be here. So let's get into it.
All right.
Postpartum ain't just 6 weeks. Let's talk about it.
It ain't just 6 weeks?
No, It's not just 6 weeks.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's school the people today.
So often we hear people say, give it 6 weeks, you'll be ready for whatever that is, right? You'll be ready. Is that true?
When I had fibroid surgery, 6 weeks wasn't enough.
So imagine pushing out a 7, a 8, a 9, a 10-pound baby out of your uterus, out of your vagina. Is you gonna be ready in 6 weeks? Oh, okay. No. I mean, if you're ready, then of course. But there's so many things that go on during the postpartum period that 6 weeks is simply not enough time to recover from that.
Okay, so wait a minute. Pause. Hold up. What is postpartum? What does that mean for the people in the audience who may not know?
So the postpartum period is every moment and second after you push your child out, after you not just push, but whether you have a C-section or anything. Every moment after the baby has taken a breath, has been laid on your chest, that is a postpartum period. And it to me, in my opinion, it goes on for the rest of your life because you can never undo that. No matter what happens, you can never undo, having a baby. So, with that being said, what does postpartum look like? What does it consist of? How will we know we're in postpartum, or what can we expect to feel during the postpartum period?
So, as you stated, postpartum isn't just 6 weeks, right? This is a whole transitional period from the time you're in labor to the time you push to the time the baby is placed on your chest for that first time, right?
Yep.
Your hormones are fluctuating. Your body is just in this weird state. Your organs have shifted around.
Yes, and expanded.
Right, and expanded. So now everything is trying to come back into a state of normalcy or equilibrium. But that happens over time, right?
Yes.
Not in a matter of hours or days or
even
months
weeks
or
years.
6 weeks, right? So that postpartum period really that's the 4th trimester as it's been coined, right? So people are often forgotten during this 4th trimester, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Yes. So let's talk about what we're missing, because our system treats postpartum like, it's an afterthought. Or, you get one visit and, you may get a pamphlet, or, they may ask you, well, let us know if you feel sad. But is that all we need?
No, you go to your appointment, your checkup, right? But you still need support and resources beyond those 6 weeks once you're cleared, right?
Yeah.
The doctor or your midwife, your provider might assess you, and they do a depression screening, which is, the standard.
Yes.
At all of even your prenatal visits, they're, doing a depression screening or scale.
Yeah, we can link that down below if you're interested in taking one.
Absolutely. But especially for postpartum, because again, your body is not in a state of normalcy or equilibrium. So things are a little,
hormones are different.
Off, right?
You feel different.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts are different. Your brain chemistry has shifted
absolutely
throughout this entire experienced to prepare for this moment.
And it's crucial for the providers to, you know, capitalize on that time, because if there is a problem, that's the time to address it.
Yeah.
Within that first few weeks after giving birth. That is, you know, absolutely crucial. Now, I'll drop some stats in a second.
Alicia's got the stats. And where is the emotional care? Where is the nourishment? Who's helping us heal? Who's helping us breastfeed? Who is helping us manage sleep? Oh my gosh.
What is sleep?
Was like
What is it?
I have not known sleep since June of 2022. I have not.
Girl.
If only. I just sleep for granted, honestly.
Oh.
Just those people who sleep, just be thankful. Or just simply being seen. Who's seeing us during this period? Because it almost seems like once you have the baby, you're just forgotten about. Everything's all about the baby. And of course, everything's all about the baby because the baby's new and cuddly and cute and beautiful and handsome and, you know, that's wonderful. But what about mommy? Wasn't I just beautiful and glowing?
Hello?
And what happened to that?
Girl, they just forgot about you, just threw you away.
What happened to me
Threw you out
being
with
the beautiful butterfly and looking so gorgeous and just forgot all about me, just come in the room and take my, let me stop around because it's a little personal.
Look, girl, they said, we want to see the baby.
Yeah. What about me? And let me say this, if you're going to see a mom in postpartum, you don't just go up to the room asking about where's the baby. Ask how I'm doing. Come offering gifts. Come offering food. Come offering an ear, a shoulder. Check in on me. Don't just ask for my baby. Because I had rules. And that's another thing. Have some rules. Have some boundaries during the postpartum period, especially when people begin to visit. You're not coming up in here with that energy. And you certainly aren't just going to bypass me to get to my baby.
Well, my concern would be just, you know, even family, just everybody rushing in at once.
Yeah.
No.
No.
This is a controlled environment. I want to make sure that
wash your hands.
Baby remains germ-free.
Wash your hands.
Absolutely. Not too many
kissing
people touching.
The baby.
Oh, don't get me started. Kissing and so on and so forth. And yes, we understand that, you know, family, you know, love the baby, but
yes. You get
there's
excited.
There's a time and a place.
There is courtesy. There is respect and boundaries. And you should absolutely respect whoever that mom is that gave birth to that baby. You should respect their boundaries without question, because just the feeling, I remember just feeling so protective and like a mama bear. Like I did not want anyone touching her, even her dad. Like I didn't want him. This is my baby. And having to feel those feelings and also try to logic my way through those feelings and rationalize my way through those feelings, it was so difficult. And when you don't have anyone to talk about it, when you don't have anyone who can understand or who has experienced this, it can be really frustrating and people can look at you like, ugh, why are you acting like that? But you don't even understand that my hormones are all over the place. I am in my primal energy. Like when you have a child, you go into primal energy. Like I don't want no one, just like how dogs act and ducks and you know when you see the ducks and they just start chasing you, like that's how we feel.
Absolutely. But show the mother grace, right? You just went through a very life-changing, body-changing, mind-changing, sometimes traumatic experience.
Yes.
So extend grace.
Yes.
In that time, and show love and support to mommy, not just baby.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna jump into these stats, right?
Yeah.
Because postpartum and the maternal mortality rate for Black women has, again, been in the news for quite some time, right? So the U.S. has the highest mortality rate among industrialized countries. We're considered industrialized. We're not third world,
Yeah.
but our numbers are higher than some third world countries.
Mm-hmm.
Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy related complications and causes. And over half of those deaths actually occur during the postpartum period. And according to the CDC, 1 in 3 maternal deaths occur 1 week to 1 year. 1 week to 1 year post delivery. Black women are also more likely to experience postpartum depression, but are less likely to get diagnosed and or treated. So it looks like we've got a huge gap,
problem.
and we need to address it, right?
Yes.
So for us, postpartum isn't just medical, it's cultural, it's spiritual.
Yep.
And when the system doesn't see us, it fails,
Yes.
as we mentioned in our last episode.
Yes. And we're told to bounce back and go back to work and take care of everyone else. And, you got 6 weeks, and but who's taking care of us?
Right.
So let's get into who can take care of us and who can show up for us, even when you don't have anyone in your personal life or someone that you know personally. A doula, of course. Of course. Postpartum doulas, even your birth doula. I give my clients 6 weeks access to me after they've had the baby. I immediately assist them with breastfeeding, and that's just birth doula in general.
Okay.
So
Or full spectrum.
yeah, and
right?
full spectrum and postpartum. Like these are things that we do. We are nurturing you, even feeding you, doing light chores
Around the house.
around
yeah.
the house
Doing
for you and
laundry.
baby.
Absolutely. Cleaning, laundry,
Yes.
Just grocery shopping.
Yep.
If you're not able to leave the house, or your partner works
Yep.
all the time, then we step in and fill that gap for you to make sure that, one, you're supported.
Yep.
2, you need nourishment, right? You need to eat so that you can breastfeed if you choose to breastfeed.
Yep.
But just there to be a support system for
Yes. Even so much as being overnight stays. There are postpartum doulas that provide, night nannying and sleep coaching for the baby to help you get some sleep.
Absolutely.
And you can hire a postpartum doula to take over at night. I mean, if I would have had a postpartum doula.
I wish I would have known you 2 years
I
ago.
wish. I wish. Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
an auntie. She's a nurse too,
Yeah.
and that's what she does on the side. She's a night nurse. She doesn't call herself a doula, but
Yes.
that's essentially what she's doing.
Yes.
And she inspired me to
Okay,
kind
Auntie.
of get into this work.
Shout out to Auntie.
Hey, TT.
Just think about if you have the resources, and even if you think that you don't have the resources, reach out to a postpartum doula. I completely understand how rough it can be in those early stages and not getting enough sleep, not really sure what you're doing, and it's just you, because sometimes dads don't even know,
Right.
honestly. So it's just, you're just kind of feeling your way around in the dark, and it can be really frustrating. And when you're sleep deprived, it can drive you crazy, literally. Literally. I had moments where I was just feeling like I'm slipping into psychosis. Like I'm just so sleep deprived. I'm so tired. I'm so frustrated, and I don't really know how to explain or articulate that to my partner or to my family, because I just assume that they won't get it. And sometimes they don't get it. And that's just really unfortunate. And I think that your family educating themselves and having a better understanding of what the postpartum process is like is key. It really is. It's crucial, because they should understand what you're going through or what you could possibly go through, so that they can better assist you and not just brush past you looking for baby.
Well, what type of resources, though, now that you mentioned being sleep deprived and, these things, what resources were given to you by your care provider to kind of help mitigate some of that you were feeling?
Honestly, I had access to my midwife for about 6 weeks, and
Okay.
but like I said, a lot of the visits is centered around baby. Like I had a lot of help with breastfeeding, and I took on to breastfeeding really easily. I did practice before, and I had like workshops on breastfeeding. But as far as the emotional part, I I really only had my mom and my partner to discuss, and even then, some moments where I held it in, or I really didn't know what to say. I didn't even realize there was a moment where I was just stressed out because once you have a baby, your autonomy, you being able to get up and go out, I was still processing that at a couple of weeks. So my baby was a couple of weeks, and I was just so eager to like get out because I needed air. I felt trapped.
Well, I was going to say, did you feel like engulfed in that and just overwhelmed?
I felt
Anxiety?
absolutely overwhelmed. And then when I was able to get out in public, the stress and how you have to stay alert and feel overwhelmed. And my body and my physical body and my spiritual body are still super open. When you have a baby, you are just open. And your senses are heightened, and that super alertness, it was extremely stressful. Like it was just so hard to articulate that to other people on how you feel, like that primal energy where you feel like everything is a threat. And you have to protect baby, and it just getting her into the car because it was the dead of summer and the car is not heating up fast, and I literally had a panic attack. It took me an hour and a half to leave the house.
Oh, wow.
So it was just my mom was just like, calm down, she's gonna be okay. And I was just so worried. I didn't want her to like overheat in the back seat and in the car seat, and just the way you think and you feel, everything is super heightened, and it is extremely stressful.
Oh, wow.
So stressful. Yeah.
Wow,
Just
friend.
thinking about it, I'm just like, oh, wow, that was a
Wow.
lot. That was a lot. And if I had a doula to, be there with me and maybe go to the store with me or go to the store for me,
Yeah.
it would have made a world of a difference. Or just kind of, maybe because I did want to get out, like just accompany me and
Just
help.
to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, that really understands.
Yeah.
It would have made a big difference because at my family, they trust, it's my child, they trust me, but it's like they really didn't understand what was going on. And then one day mom was like, I think you're experiencing postpartum. And even the frustration of when your family does know, them feeling like they're gonna blame everything on postpartum is like, that's a whole nother topic. I'm just like, I'm not, but I am, but I'm not.
You triggered right now?
Yeah, I think I'm a little triggered, y'all. I'm just a little bit.
Oh man.
And let's talk about how long postpartum is, because that's the thing. I feel like postpartum could be a minimum of 2 years. A minimum.
Oh,
That's when they say that, you start feeling more like yourself and your body comes back, not comes back, but your body starts
to
regulating itself normally, in a more normal way, because I feel like your body is never the same, but it's in a more functional and a regulated way. But emotionally, I just feel like you're forever in postpartum, because in your mind, you're always going to be mommy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just nothing it doesn't change at all. So I think that with education and, places like this, like Two Doulas in a Pod, you've been exposed to this information, especially if you aren't a parent yet or are a new parent. This is a great place to be so that you can kind of get the real about the real.
So we've talked about just, your experience, and a lot of people can, relate to your experience in going through birth and postpartum and things like that. But let's call out where things fall short, right?
Yes.
Where are the gaps with postpartum care, especially here in the U.S. and especially for us as a people, right? So postpartum appointments stop right at the 6 weeks. Some people don't even realize that they're supposed to go to their 6-week checkup.
Yep.
Right? I've heard that too, working in the doctor's offices and community health centers.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to come back. Ma'am, you need to come back. You just had a baby. But no judgment.
No judgment.
Maybe you really didn't know.
Yeah.
Or the doctors and nurses at your facility did not stress the importance of coming back in those 6 weeks. So I do want to say that, because I don't want to come off as judgy.
Yeah.
But it's crucial because, as the statistic I stated earlier, that maternal death, can occur from that first, from birth up until a year after having a baby. So it's just really important. There's a lack of culturally competent, maternal health support.
Yeah.
We have a lot of providers that just don't, or aren't prepared.
Yeah.
To work with different types of people. And living in South Florida,
It's a melting pot.
it's a melting pot of people, right? So you have to be open to learning about other cultures and other ethnicities.
and practices.
And practices, and really getting a true understanding of how to integrate that into your medical practice, right? They don't teach that in medical school.
Yeah.
So there is some bias that are, placed on us as Black people and brown people, just different ethnic groups. So, providers, just be mindful how you present yourselves to your patients, right? They want to feel supported. They want to feel like you understand them.
Yeah.
Maybe
heard.
it means, getting a book and just reading up on a particular cultural practice or religious practice.
Yeah.
Just to have a better understanding so that when you're providing care, that person feels confident and secure in the
Yes,
type of care
absolutely.
delivery. There's another gap. You said lack of rest, your sleep deprivation, right?
Yeah.
Isolation. What if you don't have access to food, or you're out of work for those 6 weeks and you depend on that paycheck, but you can't work because you just had a baby. So what are we doing about money? Do you have insurance? Are you on Medicaid? Like, these are all things that we have to take into consideration that creates that widening gap for access to care. And then lastly, there's no structured family or social safety net for most of us as Black women, right? Not all of us have the full support of our families
Yes.
or a partner, or our parents live out of state
Yeah.
and you live here in Florida. They live in New York. Maybe they can't get on an airplane and come see you or take the train or whatever the case may be. So just having a village or community of people that can help you through that transitional period, so that you can get on your feet and get acclimated to your new state of being,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not, like you mentioned before, you're not the same person
At
you
all.
were before having a baby. So once you brought this life into the world, your life has changed indefinitely. So that definitely, is a gap, that familial support, that sometimes we don't always have that community. And sometimes we have to form that community. We have to make that.
And I was just going to touch on that. Sometimes you have to create a community for yourself, especially in preparation for birth. Even if you do have your family, teach them, educate them on how they can expect to support you during that time, because people tend to only think about themselves. And especially when it comes to a newborn baby, they're really thinking about getting that little newborn fix, that people want. And tell them, bring you meals, to help you take care, offer childcare.
Absolutely.
offer, taking you to the doctor or taking you, so that you don't have to deal with the stress of trying to find transportation, or have them help you find resources for transportation and
Yep.
food and meals. So these are things that, stop asking when she's going back to work. Stop asking, partners, stop asking. You know what I mean? Stop asking. When they're ready, they will let you know. Okay?
Girl.
Bombastic side eye. Okay?
I caught that, girl.
Yeah, catch it. Catch it. Catch
caught
the
that.
tea. Okay? Clock it.
Remember, y'all, it takes a village. It really does. And as birthing people, we just want you to feel supported and empowered and not have to struggle through such a vulnerable time in your life. Giving birth is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be spiritual,
Yes.
right? So,
And safe.
and ding, ding,
Not
ding.
deadly.
Safe. Okay? Because too many of us have had close calls. We all know someone, or maybe ourselves, that we had a brush with death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a serious matter. Yeah, we're up here kikiing and ha in between, but this is important information that we want you all to receive, and just really take heed to what we're saying. We're going to drop some resources, of course, in the description box for you all to look up and follow. A couple pages on just good birth resources overall.
Yeah.
And health resources. So not just birth, but just health overall, because total health is the goal here.
Yes. And get a doula. Get a doula.
Shameless
Get a doula
plug.
today.
I see you. Shameless plug.
Get a doula if you can. There are so many doulas that take insurance, that take Medicaid, or if you can't afford it, just get the doula. You won't regret it. It can be the difference between a horrible experience or life or death. Really take this seriously, and there are resources out there. So
And we'll drop
please.
some of those. If you're local here in South Florida,
Yes.
we'll definitely link some reputable doula services, myself and Fatima included. Also, our Birth Justice Program, Southern Birth Justice Network, and our mentor, Metro Mommy Agency. Shout out to Esther.
Hey.
So we'll be dropping their information below as well.
Where can they find you?
They can find me at HoneyLoveHW on Instagram.
Yes, and you can find me at Omeo Doula Care, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Okay.
All right, so we're just going to wrap up tonight's chat about postpartum. If you have any questions or comments, feedback, drop them in the comment box below, or go to our Instagram page or our TikTok at 2 Doulas in a Pod. Drop your comments there. Share your birth stories, share your postpartum stories with us. We are anxious to hear what everyone is talking about. Just talk to us.
Yeah.
We're open.
We want to hear your stories. And you can also send your birth stories to 2doulasinapod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. You can send your stories in our DM. We really want to incorporate real life experiences and stories from families and mothers. So please don't hesitate to share it with us, okay?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.